What failures, foreign policy failures, have I presided over?
Well, we were unable to beat Russia in the war that you supported against Russia. You've been spending the last 3 years telling us that Vladimir Putin is evil and we're going to beat him with other people's children, and 1 million of those kids are now dead. You've never apologized for that. That was a full failure.
By the way, look, the level of number of falsehoods you lay out just in one statement are rather
You haven't supported
stunning.
the war against Russia?
Are rather stunning. So the war against Russia was caused, which I have explained in great detail, by Joe Biden's weakness.
But you supported the war.
If you want to talk, we can talk Russia and Ukraine. I'm happy to talk about it.
Do you think that's been a success?
No, it's been an absolute disaster.
Okay, but you supported it. Shouldn't you apologize?
No, you should apologize. I'm not going to engage in the demanding of apologies. So I'm going to.
I'm like, that's my point. Is all these failures and no one ever says I'm sorry.
Matter, or do you just throw out if you want to talk, we can talk.
I just want to serve American interests, and pushing into China is not in our interest at all. And you helped do it, and you haven't apologized. And you should.
Ted Cruz is looking so gross. Man, he looks like a bridge troll. That's actually a better analogy than I first thought. Yeah, he's keeping people from getting to a better world.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the...
Hold on. So his justification for supporting a war is based off of a religion. And yet this same guy would make the argument that Iran is dangerous because their policies are based off of their religion. Make it make sense to me.
The scripture off the tip of my... You pull out the phone and use the Google.
It's in Genesis. So you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it and you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology. And
his justification for war is in the Bible. Wow. This dude is dangerous.
I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But what? Hold on. Define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And so is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the
God's
descendants of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
So by that logic, it means that Ted Cruz needs to support Israel no matter what. No matter what Israel is up to, Ted Cruz just rubber stamps it.
Hey, you want to know, here's an easy way to know if you are controlled. Is there somebody or something that you're not allowed to criticize?
That's right.
Simple as that. If you lived in Nazi Germany, you couldn't criticize the Nazi Party. If you lived in the Soviet Union, you couldn't criticize the Communist Party of Russia. If you live in China right now, you can't criticize the Chinese Communist Party. If you live in North Korea, you can't criticize Kim Jong-un. If you live in Cuba, you can't criticize the Cuban Communist Party. If you live in America, who can't you criticize?
Ooh.
Who can't you criticize in America? Yes.
On both sides.
Right.
That's right. That tells you who controls the country. You're not... The fact that we're having this discussion and we're on the edge, all right? Everybody knows here, this is the edge.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we on the edge? Because we're touching the third rail. We're breaking the taboo. You're not allowed to discuss the power of in America. That's proof right there they control America. That's who's controlling free speech in this country. That's who's eliminating the ability to criticize Planned Parenthood. Because who owns Planned Parenthood? Who owns the pornography industry? Let's go down the list. See, they're going to crush anybody who questions their power.
Right.
And they have that power. It's on both sides, as you said. Democrats and Republicans, they all bowed down